Madam President, I intend to speak in opposition to Obamacare. I intend to speak in support of defunding Obamacare until I am no longer able to stand. But in the time we have been here, we have spent virtually zero time even talking about jobs in the economy. Doesn't make the agenda. It apparently is not important enough for this body's time. We spent 6 weeks talking about guns, talking about taking away law-abiding citizens' Second Amendment rights. We call it unanimous consent. It's only unanimous because they don't let anyone know. One of my favorite children's stories, actually from when I was a kid, was The Little Engine That Could. The little engine that could, the train going up that said over and over again, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. You know, I have to say, if you listen to a lot of members of this body, the message would be simple: that little engine can't. If you go to the 1940s, Nazi Germany. Look, we saw in Britain Neville Chamberlain, who told the British people, accept the Nazis. Yes, they'll dominate the continent of Europe, but that's not our problem. Let's appease them. Why? Because it can't be done. We can't possibly stand against them. And in America, there were voices that listened to that. I suspect those same pundits who say it can't be done, if it had been in the 1940s, we would have been listening to them. Then they would have made television. They would have gotten beyond carrier pigeons and beyond letters, and they would have been on TV, and they would have been saying, you cannot defeat the Germans. Mr. President, by any measure, Obamacare is a far less intimidating foe than those that I have discussed, with the possible exception of the moon. The moon might be as intimidating as Obamacare. The private sector, if your boss picks up the phone and calls, I suspect neither you or I sat on our computer playing solitaire when our boss picked up the phone and called. One of the self-described, quote, fact-checkers, and there's a whole, well, we may talk long enough that I may talk a little bit about fact-checkers, because that's a particularly pernicious bit of yellow journalism that has cropped up that lets journalists be editorial writers and pretend they're talking about objective facts, and basically concluded as a factual matter, not as a matter of opinion, that anyone who disagrees with them is objectively lying. You know, some time ago I tweeted a speech that Ashton Kutcher gave. It's actually a terrific speech. It was a speech at one of these award shows where he talked about the value of hard work. And one of the things I remember he said is, he said, you know, in my life, opportunity looks an awful lot like hard work. That was a great message. It was a great message to young people. Part of the reason I tweeted it out and to salute him, and I don't know Mr. Kutcher. I've watched his TV shows and his movies. I don't know him personally. But you know what? He can speak to millions of young people who'd never listened to you and would never listen to me. And so I salute him for carrying a message to young people about hard work and diligence and working towards the American dream. 48% of small business owners say Obamacare is bad for business. Less than 10% say it's good for business. Jamie Richardson of White Castle explained Obamacare's impact on their business. In the 5 years prior to the health care law, we were opening an average of 8 new White Castle restaurants each year. In 2013, we plan to open just 2 new locations. While other factors have slowed our growth, it is the mounting uncertainty surrounding the health care law that brought us to a standstill. Now, Mr. President, I want you to think about that for a second. 8 White Castle restaurants a year. I like their little burgers. That dropped to 2. That means 6 a year in the last 4 years. That's 24 White Castle restaurants. Now, number one, just as a consumer, I'm a big fan of eating White Castle burgers. That's 24 places you can't go to get them.
Senators don't always ask for advice from other senators, but I thought I'd come down and, make sure you had comfortable shoes on, make sure you're getting enough to eat. Try not to eat on television. That's a little bit of free advice that sometimes shows up.
I'm going to make an embarrassing admission here right now. I'm going to get to your question in a second, but I wanted to make an embarrassing admission first, which is, for many years, when I was in private practice, when I was Solicitor General, I wore a particular pair of boots, my argument boots. They're black ostrich boots. Litigators are kind of superstitious souls, and so anytime I went into court to argue a case, I wore my argument boots. Had them resold, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. And when I had the great honor of serving in this body, being sworn in to the United States Senate, when I was sworn in, standing on those steps just in front of us, I wore my argument boots. And I've worn them every day since. I don't believe there's been a day on this Senate floor that I haven't worn my argument boots. So I had a choice with which I was confronted, which is, do I follow through and wear my argument boots, or do I listen to the very sage counsel from my friend from Kentucky and go with more comfortable shoes? And I will embarrassingly admit that I took the coward's way out. And so went and purchased some black tennis shoes. Actually, I think they're the same model that the senior senator from Utah, Orrin Hatch, wears on a regular basis. Sam I am. That Sam I am, that Sam I am. I do not like that Sam I am. Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. Would you like them here or there? I would not like them here or there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am.
Well, we could be here, you may be here all night, but Senator Cruz, but you could be here all night just citing examples of real people that are being hurt in this way.